Man, I don't even know where to start on this, for real. Oh my god. I mean, the tensions between the United States and Iran is just, they're massive right now. And considering that this is like Generation Z's, kind of like my generation's like first taste of conflict and war, I've been talking about it a ton because I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how everybody else is reacting to it my age, but like, man, this is insane. Like it's also horrible of like what's all happening right now. I know this is normally not the kind of content that I like to post, but I got a lot on my mind. I was just gonna kind of recap of pretty much what everything happened over the past, I guess, like the 40 years plus what is happening right currently with President Donald Trump and the Soleimani bombing and the embassy in Baghdad. So pretty much how it kind of began. It's been brewing for quite some time, and it kind of exploded during the new year. Uh, President Trump pulled out of the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. So it was a nuclear deal signed while President Barack Obama was president of the United States, and then Iran threatened to breach the nuclear enrichment restrictions imposed by the deal, in which Germany, China, France, Britain, the EU, and Russia are signees of. So they threatened to pull out, but in response, the United States announced the deployment of an additional 1,000 troops to the Middle East and reimposed the blanket sanctions on Iran. And another thing happened, that it was the official Saudi press agency, like they reported that 2 Saudi oil tankers also came under the sabotage attack that Iran claimed responsibility for off the UAE coast. So Saudi Arabia's energy minister, Khalid Al-Falih, added that the tankers sustained significant damage. The U.S. blamed Iran for these attacks, while an investigation by the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Norway pinned on them on a state actor without naming names. So they're not claiming responsibility, but they did it. It's kind of obvious. The United States at the time also issued an alert to maritime traffic over alleged acts of sabotage off of ships of the coast of UAE amid heightened regional tensions between America and Iran. And then just 2 days later, 2 oil pumping stations for the East-West pipeline in Saudi Arabia were hit by explosive-laden drones on May 14th. They were Iran-backed Houthi militias that claimed responsibility for this drone attack. So the second wave of the oil attacks were Iran. The 1.2 kilometer pipeline carried crude oil from Saudi Arabia's main eastern oil fields to the Red Sea port city of Yanbu in the west, and Saudi Arabia's energy minister, Falih, called the attack an act of terrorism that targeted global supplies. And on Thursday, January the 2nd, Iran's Revolutionary Guard shot down a U.S. drone on Thursday amid heightened tensions between Tehran and Washington over its collapsing nuclear deal with world powers. So, yeah, the guard said that it shot down an RQ-4 Global Hawk over Iranian airspace, while a U.S. official told the Associated Press the downing happened over international airspace in the Strait of Hormuz. So, Iran's like, oh, you got a drone over our airspace? We'll just fucking shoot it down. But the U.S. claimed that it was over international airspace and not an Iranian airspace. But previously, the U.S. military alleged Iran had fired a missile at another drone last week that was responding to the attack on 2 oil tankers near the Gulf of Oman. The U.S. blames Iran for the attack on ships. Tehran denies it was involved. Iran said on Friday that it was indisputable evidence that a U.S. drone shot it down this week had violated its airspace. And you know, Papa President Trump had to go and tweet about this. In quotes, a very big mistake. So in response to Iran shooting down the U.S. drone, President Donald Trump said that, and I quote, Iran made a very big mistake, unquote. Later he said, quote, I find it hard to believe it was intentional. If you want to know the truth, I think that it could have been somebody who was loose and stupid that did it, unquote. So far, we have Iran targeting multiple Saudi Arabia oil fields, tankers that are on maritime adventures and deliveries, and then Iran also shot down a U.S. drone, claimed it wasn't intentional. Even Trump said that it was somebody that could have been just stupid and did it. But the imminent attack warning, which is crazy, but Iranian officials told Reuters Tehran that he'd received a message from Trump through Oman overnight warning that a U.S. attack on Iran was imminent. And then we have a quote here from Mohammad Zarif, the Iranian foreign minister, quote, "We don't seek war, but we will zealously defend our skies, land, and waters." I also saw an interview with him last night on ABC that he actually vowed to get revenge, and I mean, he did. If you saw the missile attacks from Iran last night, it was kind of chilling to see how content he was of getting back getting back at the United States, especially with the interviewer being right there. That's American. He was like, the United States. I'll play the interview for you here real quick.
Is a very patient country. We will take our action after necessary deliberation. But I'm sure that it will be taken at the time of our choosing, not at the time of the United States choosing.
There are reports that your supreme leader said it must be a direct proportional response carried out in the open. Does that mean Iran will acknowledge?
Once we do it, yes, we will. We don't carry cowardly acts of terror like the United States.
I ask if civilians would be taken off the target list.
Iran has never put U.S. civilians on its target list.
Wrong. That is.
Anyway, before the bombing of Soleimani happened, on Friday, Trump tweeted about the decision to stop targeted strikes. So he said, in quotes, "no hurry to bomb Iran," revealing that U.S. forces were cocked and loaded, but he called them back within minutes to go in the order to avoid mass casualties. And then his tweet says, and I quote, "Death to America. I terminated a deal which was not even ratified by Congress and imposed strong sanctions. They are very much weakened nation. They are a much weakened nation today than at the beginning of my presidency, when they were causing major problems throughout the Middle East. Now they are bust." Continuing on Monday they were shot down. They shot down an unmanned drone flying in international waters. We were cocked and loaded to retaliate last night on 3 different signs. But when I asked how many will die, 150 people, sir, was the answer from the general. 10 minutes before the strike, I stopped it. That was on June 21st, 2019. So it kind of shows that, like, he was ready. He was like, oh, we're going to get these fuckers. Because they apparently shot down an expensive-ass drone. But there are going to be mass civilian casualties, and that's not how the USA works. Global impact. So basically, the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo reached out to foreign leaders to convince them that apparent attacks on the key Mid-East shipping route is a problem for the world at large. So U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said, yo, these guys over here are attacking oil fields, maritime adventures, and trade deals. They're shooting down drones, and they're Indian officials saying that their navy has deployed 2 warships off the Gulf of Oman amid the rising tensions. Indian Navy spokesman Dilip Kumar Sharma says that the ships Chennai and Shunai have deployed to the Gulf of Oman to undertake maritime security operations and to escort Indian merchant ships. So India's like, nah, fuck that, I got it. And so they just been escorting their ships for Iran to fuck off. And that's pretty much it for right now. Then we kind of get into the strikes. So we get into the strikes that happened on I think it was January 1st or 2nd. So to start off, on December 27th, 2019, so 4 days before the new year or the new decade, U.S. civilian contractors killed and civil troops injured in a rocket attack from Kirkuk. The militia group Kataib Hezbollah, backed by Iran, is blamed. So a Iran-backed terrorist militia released a rocket attack on Kirkuk. Then on December 29th, the U.S. planes bombed 3 sites in Iraq. One of them, the city of Al-Qaim, and 2 in Syria. 25 people are killed. The sites are tied to Kataib Hezbollah. So they pretty much, it's pretty much what it is right now, is a gigantic back and forth match. Like who can knock each other out first? Like who can just piss the one off first, so that it's just like it just sparks something. And then here's where we really get into it. December 31st, the militia-backed protesters attacked the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. So what you kind of see on screen right now is the embassy from COD Modern Warfare, which is one of my favorite missions in the damn game. It's so great. And it pretty much just resembles that. And then on January 2nd, Iranian military leader Qasem Soleimani and 5 others killed in a U.S. drone strike at Baghdad airport. They called it a defense. The U.S. called it a defensive action, saying that Soleimani was planning attacks on U.S. diplomats and troops. So, pretty much that was the one where Iran's like, okay, buddy, and then we're like, I mean, hey, you were doing all this shit in the summer, and then you go ahead and kill a civilian contractor. And then you go ahead and launch a couple rockets on sites and everything, and then U.S. just drops a bomb on Soleimani, kills him and 5 others, and then that's pretty much all we had for about a couple days, and that's when the interview took place about kind of what in between that time, that ABC interview of the Iranian correspondent saying, "Oh, we're gonna get you guys back," and last night they did. So after that interview aired, or they kind of did that interview, 8th of January 2020, military operation codename Operation Martyr Soleimani launched 22 ballistic missiles at the Al-Assad Air Base in Governorate Western Iraq. So Iran retaliates with 22 ballistic missiles, ground-to-ground missiles, and I was certainly in shock, because this was actually the day of, speaking of in time, because it was like midnight around there. This is the day of the strike, and I was in shock, honestly, when I heard about this, because I mean, this is like really the first act of war, because it was taken out on Iraq, housed with U.S. troops. And then the president came out with a press conference this morning to address the nation, and this is what he had to say.
Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world. No American or Iraqi lives were lost because of the precautions taken, the dispersal of forces, and an early warning system that worked very well. I salute the incredible skill and courage of America's men and women in uniform. For far too long, all the way back to 1979 to be exact, nations have tolerated Iran's destructive and destabilizing behavior in the Middle East and beyond.
So that's what President Trump had to say on the attacks at Al-Assad Air Base. So that's pretty much it for everything right now. Like I said, it was pretty much just a big swinging to hit, swinging to miss attack. Iran obviously with a subpar attack on the United States and Iraq. Could have been an act of war, and probably good that we're there. Obviously it's good that there's no casualties, but for Iran, they're extremely lucky that there's no casualties, because if there was if one or even many, Trump probably would have persuaded Congress to declare war on Iran. So like he says, he's very lucky that nobody's hurt, everything's okay, very minimal damage, and I'm glad that everybody's okay in the Middle East, our troops over there. Of course, I'm obviously American, but I'm just glad that everything's trying to calm down now, so I don't get my ass drafted. Obviously, there's not going to be a draft, because The memes are the greatest part about this fucking thing. I love it so much. They're amazing. I'll show you a couple of my favorites. This one. See, like, this one is... Oh my god, this is honestly one of my favorite fucking memes of all time. It's the black guy, and he's laughing because Iranians, when they find out only one person gets drafted, and the fucking facial expression gets me every fucking time. Oh my god. And this one is General Sensei from Club Penguin. The fucking hard ass gives you your black belt, but holy shit, I love this meme so fucking much. It's great. This is also one of my most favorite ones I've ever seen. It's Uno, and it's one of those custom cards that you get in the pack. And there's a template where it's white top right, and it says or draw 25, and you're supposed to put something that person that didn't do it. So on the right they put 25, they draw 25. So I put be at peace or draw 25, and it's the fucking USA just holding like fucking 50 cards right there. It's But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's normally not the content that I put out, but if you are here and you made it to the end of the video, yeah, thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate it. Also, if you kind of like what I do, just take a look at the rest of the channel. Support me. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, because I like to do this kind of stuff. So thank you guys, and let's roll the outro.
Look slow, and niggas tuck their chains every time.